diving back into the Luzon travel diaries as we continue to explore the largest island of my home country, the Philippines. We have just closed out our first night in Baguio, a wonderful introduction to the north filled with art, culture, cuisine, and beautiful views of the Cordilleras. But we are just getting started. Today is our first full day in Baguio, and the sun has decided to finally come out, bringing a new life to this lush green city. It is actually my first time in Baguio as well, despite having been to the Philippines many times and spending many weeks every year living in Manila, and I'm already loving it so far. Which is good, because it's also my girlfriend's first time visiting the Philippines, so there is a lot of pressure to make sure she loves it, and so far so good. We kick off our day with breakfast at our hotel in Rocio, a traditional Filipino breakfast with rice and egg and your choice of ulam. Gorgeous views from the hotel's restaurant, especially now with the sun out. You can see how vibrant and verdant Baguio truly is. We wander through Burnham Park on our way to the city center, a hub for street food vendors, souvenir stalls, and some activities centered around the park's laguna, like boating or just chilling and having a picnic. Coming from Metro Manila, where green spaces are much harder to come by, it is such a blessing to have one right in the city's downtown, literally just footsteps away as soon as we walk out of the hotel. Here in Baguio, starting the day strong with some sunshine, and we are here at Burnham Park, seeing it for the first time in the daylight. Beautiful little green space in the heart of the city. An already very green city, lots of activity going on here. Walking through the park, there's Jose Rizal City Hall, the bustling street where all the jeepneys are. Very, very bustling Monday morning today. Everyone going to and from work. Look at the colorful jeepneys. I love them here. This must be the transport hub of the city. Our first adventure of the day is to the Valley of Colors, a collective of 3 villages, Stonehill, Batiutiu, and Sadyap, that have been splashed with color and painted to create one of the most unique sights here in the Philippines. But you know how it is, no day can truly start without coffee, and Baguio is spoiled for choice with incredible cafes and coffee shops, so we make our way to Foam Coffee across from City Hall and right next to the jeepney stops near Baguio's main plazas. In case y'all didn't know, the Philippines has an extremely underrated coffee culture, and the Cordilleras of the Philippines consistently produce among the best roasts in the world. Coffee has become my addiction of choice in recent years, so I've got to take full advantage here in Baguio. Now we are here at Foam Coffee, waiting for our coffee. This place looks delicious, very, very unique drinks. I got myself a dirty horchata. Let's see how good it is compared to a Mexican or even Salvadoran peanut horchata. And then my girlfriend got a hojicha, whatever that is, something that I can't pronounce, therefore it must be healthy and good for you, as her choices tend to be. We decided against a donut, which is quite sad. I could cry. But it's a beautiful sunny day. We're here surrounded by green parks. Very, very nice. Blue skies. Excellent, excellent place. Excellent vibes here in Baguio. After that mandatory coffee stop, which was 10 out of 10 by the way, we hopped on the jeepney bound for La Trinidad, paid our 16 peso fare, and got dropped off at the absolutely breathtaking Stobosa Valley of Colors. This place is incredible, reminiscent of other barrios that I've visited in the past, like Comuna 13 in Medellin, Colombia, Chihualuma in La Paz, Bolivia, and no matter how many times you see a place like this, it just never gets old. I love seeing how an ambitious project comes together because it is so much work and effort and cooperation. I believe this one required over 500 local artists and villagers to help bring it to life and make it a reality. 2,800 gallons of paint were splattered across around 200 houses, and the perspective work is unbelievable. The way many of the colors flow like waterfalls onto the house below them and intertwine amongst their neighbors, it is surreal. The hanging bridges to cross the river below add such a unique aspect, and the fact that these villages are built on the face of a steep mountainside, making it so the colors just cascade down from the topmost houses, is just gorgeous. Again, Stobosa is ambitious and perhaps the best example of why Baguio is designated as a UNESCO creative city.
We're here on this hanging bridge leading up to this village of about 150 to 200 houses, all of which are painted by local artists, a team of more than 500 villagers from this little area. They were trained, and then these paintings were outlined, and then a few years ago they got to work and started painting. Over 2 million pesos worth of paint was used to decorate this village.
Art is everywhere in this region, and unfortunately we did not have time to visit everything we wanted. For example, the Bencab Contemporary Art Museum remains on our to-do list, as does the Tamawan Artist Village, who are the people who designed and conceived the Stobosa Valley of Colors project to begin with. I loved it here. There isn't much to do since it is a residential area. It is perfect for taking photos and soaking in the incredible beauty though, both natural and man-made. We wandered the streets for a little while, and of course it wasn't long before my American blue-eyed girlfriend got the attention of some local kids and was bombarded with questions before being forced to race up and down the hills with some 7-year-olds. Lovely, lovely way to spend the morning and also get an unexpected workout in. Gotta love the Philippines.
Dog is big.
Big?
Yeah.
Okay.
The one dog is small.
Small.
Yeah.
Is it a baby dog or just small?
A baby dog.
Oh, very cute. I love baby
His
dogs.
name.
On the way back, we mistakenly got on the wrong jeepney and got dropped off on the other side of town near the Central Market instead of the main plaza where we hopped on, so we decided to make a little adventure out of this unexpected detour. We wandered through the market, testing out more sweets and treats that my girlfriend had yet to try, as well as explaining tons of things that I never gave a second thought to or had just taken for granted about the Philippines, like the fact that we just have dozens of fruits and vegetables that one would never find in an American supermarket. However, since we were in Baguio, we had to go for the classic. Even though it wasn't strawberry season, we ended up settling for a big batch of Baguio's world-famous strawberries to snack on, which was a 10 out of 10 decision. Those strawberries tided us over while we wandered through more of the Central Market and downtown Baguio, and then for lunch we headed back to our favorite spot from yesterday, the Likha Artist Village. I already covered this amazing community art space in the previous video, but again, an absolute gem here in Baguio and one of my new favorite places in the Philippines. This place has it all, Filipino culture and creativity in full display. The Likha Artist Village showcases the best of Filipino craftsmanship in various fields, from painting to sculpting, mosaics, leatherworking, the imaginativeness to conceptualize a space like this in the first place, followed by the carpentry and masonry to make it a reality. Not to mention the food here was shockingly good. The vegan dinakdakan and tofu adobo were to die for, genuinely some of the best vegan Filipino food that I've ever eaten. It was a much-needed stop to fill up before we headed over to the Baguio Botanical Gardens to close out the day. Although there are many forests, hills, and hiking trails around Baguio, the Botanical Garden is among the most accessible green spaces close to the city. Now we're here at the famed Baguio Botanical Garden. Already upon entering, this is so much more than I expected. Much more than just flowers, just so much art everywhere and quite large. So for the fairly nominal fee of 100 pesos, we're now here overlooking yet another incredible green space of the Philippines. All the parks, all the art museums, even a lot of the restaurants and artist village and galleries we've been to have just been so immersed in nature, so intertwined beautifully and perfectly. It is amazing to see, because the Philippines is a country that comes from nature,
We live very in tune with our oceans and with our forests. So to be able to maintain that relationship as we modernize is such an important and beautiful thing. Welcome to the Baguio Botanical Garden.
To be honest, I was not expecting too much, but I actually really enjoyed these gardens. One of the biggest highlights was the Orchidarium, a small but aesthetic room featuring orchids with all of its walls covered in plants and greenery. It was a very lush and peaceful introduction to the gardens, and we sat here for quite a while just soaking it all in. I also loved the little side trails when you veered off the main route. These secluded paths weave deeper into the jungles and were an even more tranquil and relaxing experience. Just make sure to bring bug spray because you will definitely get eaten alive by all of the mosquitoes here. For the 100 pesos that it cost to enter the Baguio Botanical Garden, I would say it was well worth it to surround yourself in nature for an hour or two, or even longer if you'd like to sit down for a while and read a book, do some sketches, or just soak it all in.
Yeah.
The Philippines is an incredibly biodiverse country, and there are so many flowers, ferns, trees, and other plants here that I've never seen before. Like I said, I wasn't expecting a lot since botanical gardens aren't typically something I prioritize visiting on my travels, but I heard great things about Baguio's, and it absolutely was worth the visit, made even more magical with the late afternoon lighting. We stayed at the Botanical Garden until it closed around sunset and then hopped on a jeepney bound for downtown Baguio. We found some convenient and affordable street food on Carantes Street, a narrow but bustling street lined with street vendors and food courts, popular among locals after the working day is done. It is hard to go anywhere in Baguio without finding yourself surrounded in color and art, and Carantes Street is no different. Street art and murals are splattered all over this alleyway's walls, each one serving as a love letter to Baguio and the Cordilleras, highlighting the humans and the cultures that make Baguio the diverse, creative, and special place that it is. We sat down on a bench to eat our snacks, admiring the art and the comings and goings of Baguio's rush hour foot traffic, and then continued our food crawl at the historic cafe by the ruins. Our stomachs were still overflowing at this point, but we found the space for a small soup and a delicious pastry in this renowned restaurant. The original burned down years ago, but you can't tear down tradition, and the bread and desserts here were as delectable as their reputation promised. Speaking of reputation, there is one Baguio institution that we had yet to check out. My girlfriend thought it was a bit too corny, but I insisted, and we managed to compromise on a second dessert at the famed Good Taste restaurant. This place is a 6-story behemoth whipping out Filipino foods, pastries, and desserts to the masses with a little help from these robot waiters. Halo-halo is never a bad idea to close out the night, and this huge portion left us having very sweet dreams of Baguio. We went home to go to bed and prepared to set off for our next Luzon destination the following morning. We waved goodbye to the beautiful Inn Rocio. Again, great bang for your buck here. I love the location, the breakfast, the rooms were basic, but you can't ask for much more from the price. I definitely recommend it for any budget travelers out there. It was a great stay for about $30 a night. As we made our way to the bus station through Burnham Park, we grabbed a taho for the road. Taho gang. Final steps in Baguio with our ube taho. Normal taho. Delicious. Perfect way to start the day and our walk to the bus station. Going to Sagada next. La Sagada Familia.
Almost.
And with Foam Coffee so close to Burnham Park, it was impossible to resist yet another detour for a tasty drink and what I thought was a snack. But portion sizes in the Philippines are generous to say the least. Regardless, it was important to fill up before hopping on another 5 or 6 hour bus ride through the mountains, so this was perfect. Since seats for our next leg of the journey could not be booked in advance, we rolled up to the bus station a little early. It did not hurt to make sure we were at the right one since Baguio has a few different bus terminals and a couple of different lines heading up to Sagada. This was the GL Trans bus at the Dangwa terminal, a little bit hidden away and very unassuming, but just ask around in case you can't find it. It cost 330 pesos each for a seat to Sagada, and it was definitely not as comfortable or air-conditioned as our previous bus, but it is what is it. Before long, the bus kicked into gear and the cityscapes of Baguio were left behind, slowly transforming into dramatic landscapes from dense forested mountains to countless rice terraces carved into the steep hillsides. After a gentle introduction to the northern areas of Luzon, we were now diving full force into the natural environments and pristine beauty of the mountain province. The adventures are only picking up from here as we jump into secluded jungle waterfalls and trek through millennia-old rice terraces, arguably the most beautiful that the world has to offer. So stay tuned for more off-the-beaten-path Luzon adventures, truly among the most underrated travel destinations that the Philippines has to offer. And thank you all so much for watching. Maraming salamat. Make sure to subscribe to the channel to see more of what shenanigans we get up to. Toss over a like, drop a comment, and let me know any of your favorite spots in Luzon that we need to check out. Catch you all on the next video.